Hello and welcome to those of you who are new to my renamed business, the Blue Sky Shop. I really felt called that it was time to move more directly into just card readings and astrology, so you can check out my services at bluesky-shop, shoppe.com. And also I put up these free readings on my newly formed Facebook page that you can find as Blue Sky Shop on Facebook. So this week, this is for the week of October 28th. So the numerology, when you add up all the numbers of the date, translates into the energy of 4. I felt that numerology right away when I was tapping in for all of us this week for some vibe guidance. And that 4 energy is about solid foundations and being a dedicated worker. And I feel that some things are shifting. We always have big shifts in the time of Scorpio, when the sun is in Scorpio, because it's the deepest part of our energy. Really, nothing is as foundational for us as Scorpio energy. So big things are getting shifted especially from an emotional perspective. And I found it really interesting that our Sabian symbol for this week in my dowsing was Leo 6. And that reads as follows: a conservative, old-fashioned lady is confronted by a hippie girl. So I want you to take this very personally, because Scorpio gets to the truth and to a level of integrity that is deep within us. And I want you to just take in the reading very personally about a foundational aspect of you that we might call the old-fashioned feminine energy part of you, because when the Sabian symbols refer to a lady, a woman, a girl, it's always pointing to your feminine energy. So this applies to men too. Men have their feminine energy. This is your emotional aspects. This is those deep drivers from within, kind of the seed of a passionate sort of desire towards something, which ties into Scorpio as well. And it's also that intuitive side of you that knows, like, when something just doesn't feel right, you have to look into it. So that's what this symbol is pointing to, not only in terms of an old-fashioned lady, but a hippie girl. So it is a foundational aspect of you that I feel, in the context of this reading, that's never going to change. It's a level of integrity that is at your very depths. And what I want to say here is that for each of us, that is different. And can we make enough room in our perceptions to allow others to have their own foundational aspects? In my journaling this morning, which I do every morning with my own sense of spirit, I was drawn to the phrase, "it takes all kinds." And in that is the implication of, could we be kind for all kinds? In the fact that all of us are operating from what we each feel is most important to us, is foundational to who we are. And the symbol is speaking to that very foundational aspect of you. It's the old-fashioned lady. It is a very evolved part of you. It is something that you came in this life with, and that you are so hardwired to this, it ain't never gonna change. But I'm not asking you to change it in this reading. All of our spirits together doing this reading is not asking you to change it, but is confronted by the hippie girl. That's the second part of the symbol. And that speaks to, but can you teach an old dog new tricks? can the old-fashioned lady part of you, that very deep level of integrity and the foundations upon which you stand, because remember, we're in this is a 4-week for us when we're looking at the 28th of October. Solid foundations, being dedicated and disciplined to something. You're getting an upgrade on that though, and whatever that is what the hippie girl part of the message is offering. Okay, so the first card I'm going to give each of you is the old-fashioned lady. It's speaking to something that is deep within you, and it might be getting triggered somehow within you. It might be coming up to the surface, and might be, for some of us, might be kind of a part of us that we get sort of pissed off about, or like, I wish I could just get out of thinking this way, or I wish I could get beyond this. Or maybe some people really, really are like linked at the hip to this part of themselves. And I'm saying to all of us, all kinds, remember that. Be kind to yourself about whatever this aspect is. And understand that the energies coming in this week are allowing you to have a little bit of a facelift, if you will, for this part of you. And that's that hippie girl. It's a more flowing kind of energy. Additionally, what plays in here is that Venus retrograde, she's continuing her retrograde pattern, and she's going into one of her favorite places to be, Libra. So she's traveling backwards, and this is where we're doing a lot of soul searching around what is beautiful to me in my life. What do I really value in my life? And as she moves into Libra, the reason it's a favorite place is that Venus rules Libra. So this is in terms of relationships with other people, and whatever your sense of harmony is, and how can you access that level of harmony that you're always looking for. That Venus energy is the old-fashioned lady part of you. It's speaking to the foundations for all of us, whether we realize it or not, are always seeking a level of balance somehow, and a level of belonging and harmony with whomever matters most in our lives. And that varies and it changes over time. But think about the core concept that I'm saying. That is the old-fashioned lady part of this. And Venus in a retrograde pattern, which I never, ever view retrograde as negative. If you want to go there when it comes to retrograde planets, I'm not your person. I view retrogrades as a very important time of self-introspection, where we can get a lot out of it and come out retuned. If we use the energy to our advantage, if we use it as it's playing out in the skies. So Venus is just calling you to really take a closer look at what is this level of balance and harmony within me. That's what the old-fashioned lady part of the message is. Meanwhile, the hippie girl is Mercury, the planet of communication and processing and learning, everything having to do with our brain and what comes out of our mouth and what goes in our ears and how we make sense of all that. Mercury, I really view that as a masculine sort of an energy to it. Mercury is moving into Sagittarius. And this is always an interesting time because Sag does not sugarcoat anything. It says it like it is. And it's part of why I really love Sagittarius. And this is personal for me because my house where Mercury is, where Mercury rules in my chart, is governed by Sagittarius for me. So it's a real time of coming out, if you will, of just freedom. It's growing wings. That's why I think it's a perfect time for me to be launching my new Blue Sky Shop Facebook page. That's an example. And what is it for you this week? This is what the hippie girl is calling you, that part of the message. What are the wings that you gain that give you a new sense of freedom and flow, and telling it like it is, and seeking a new truth, seeking a new frame of mind that feels more open, that feels more like you. But don't forget, the you has to somehow tie into the old-fashioned lady. You're never going to get rid of that part of you, and please don't. It's foundational for you. We have to look at how our words shape our perspective on things. When I say old-fashioned lady, do some of you get this feeling of, oh, well, clearly that's no good, and I need to like upgrade that, or I need to chop that part off? Some of you will also have a reaction that says, okay, that's tried and true, that's solid, and I want to keep that, and I want to continue to operate from that perspective. And I feel, as I'm giving this message, yes, 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 the second of those perspectives that I just gave, that's why it's wanting to pop up this week. And it's all in favor of you being able to get those wings, to be able to fly and have a sense of freedom in your mind, in how you view things, in how you say things, and in how you hear things. I keep wanting to drive home the message. It takes all kinds. Can we find the kindness in our heart to accept that everybody's got that old-fashioned lady, that old-fashioned feminine component within us, our integrity. It's what we stand on. It's what we believe in. And we're all revisiting that foundational, it's like a keystone, if you will, in a structure. It's so important. But there is a new view that is offered with the hippie girl. There is something more that you are ready for. And it doesn't change that old-fashioned lady part of you. Instead, it allows you more room, more freedom, more grace, more of a sense of peacefulness, more of a sense of being really eccentric. All of that is called forward, okay? There we go. Very long-winded intro that I have this week. So it just feels a little more complicated. Can you feel that too? But we're dealing with Venus and Mercury this week. So it's about your heart's desires. It's about the integrity, your very things that you stand upon in order to operate in your life. We make decisions based on those things in our lives. What we really believe is true. And maybe we're revisiting some of that and just making a few little swap outs here and there and shifting slightly. But the foundation of it is still the same. There's just a slightly different, a little more flow, a little more freedom, a little less boundaries. That hippie nature, being a little more open. Okay? So let's get on with it. So the first card up is from the Flower Therapy deck. And again, the first of these cards that I'm going to be doing for each message is the Old-Fashioned Lady message, which also ties to the Venus retrograde entering Libra this week. And you have release all anger. And I'm really getting a sense of red, 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 red. And again, I want you to keep in mind perspective here. This is the Snapdragon, and it says, don't give power to negative words by saying them. Speak from your higher self and make your communications peaceful and loving. And what I get a sense of is this old-fashioned lady, again, a keystone, a foundational piece of you this week. The Venus retrograde going into Libra, what that says to me is there's some parts of you that are revisiting how quickly you snap to an emotion like Libra, or sorry, like anger, especially in relationships with other people. When it comes to other people in your life and how they do or don't disappoint you, there is, I do get this sense of this snap, this like, yeah. And this also brings in Cancerian energy too, because Cancer wants a sense of belonging, wants to feel family, wants to feel connectedness. And when Cancer doesn't feel that, there can, again, remember Cancer is the crab. So there's a sense of pulling back and going behind the rock. And when something comes towards you, it's like, out comes the claw and goes snap. Because if there's any kind of rebuffing that has happened, that's how Cancer takes care of itself. It has a very, I sense this old-fashioned part of you has a very, very tender and giving heart, and loves a sense of connectedness, and loves a sense of bonding with others. And this can for sure be outside of family too. It doesn't have to just be in the family unit, but there's that edge. And this is where the old-fashioned concept, I'm saying as a reader, there is great value in that as a solid foundation of who you are. But with old-fashioned also comes a lot of time has been spent on that particular block of integrity within your life. And over time it starts to crumble away at you a little bit. Because if there's rebuffing that happens, it's the claws come out and go snap, snap. I get that with the Snapdragon reference. And it's a version of anger, but it is a well-meaning anger. And the point is that it crumbles away at you in the process when it's built up over time. So I really do get a sense of maybe there being a slight shift in how that sense of looking at, is it actually that I'm being shown or told here through people's words or actions, or my perceptions? Please keep that in mind too. My perceptions that they are rebuffing me, that I don't belong, that I'm not loved, that I'm not valued. Is that actually what the other is saying to me? Or am I actually just taking it in that way? And because I have a very sensitive and giving, I mean, I'm getting imagery of wide open giving that you are. Because I have that kind of a heart, does it get hurt easily because I don't have boundary? Because I am wide open, because I want to give, give, give. And maybe the other is not asking you to give, give, give all of that. Or maybe the other is so overwhelmed by how much you do give that the other doesn't know how to express thanks or belonging or connectedness in a way that really will fill up, will be in balance to the amount of energy that you are giving out. It feels like a huge stream of energy because this card contains a lot of life force. I'm really seeing a lot of red as I open this up, and I don't take red to be emergency or bad or stop or any of those things when I'm reading energy. It's pure life force to me. There is a tremendous amount of go power with red. It is the blood that literally pumps through our veins to keep us alive and carries oxygen to all parts of the body. It's literally vital and pumping, and there's movement. It's so important. And I just feel this sense of there being an imbalance, okay? So then let's look at the hippie girl aspect here. So all of the second cards are from the Soul Coaching deck by Denise Lynn. This is the back of the card. So you have energy, okay? Now here's a nice tie into that orange of the snapdragon that we saw. And this says, healing energy and immense vitality flow through me easily and effortlessly. So what I get a sense of here is there can be this giving from your huge big heart. That is foundational to who you are. Please don't change that. But please do understand that energy is real. So when you're giving out of your big, huge heart, and I'm literally seeing like a rainbow of energy coming out of your heart area, you're just, it's where your vitality is. It's what makes you feel alive in order to give. But energy is real, and in order for it to feel good, and for that block that you're standing on as this old-fashioned value of you, in order for that to not crumble, you have to receive something back that is nourishing. And so what this says, the hippie girl energy says, but what if you need to open up and allow some of that energy to come back at you? Because this is the vitality that keeps that swirl within the sun moving. You are the sun. You are this giving crab. But you outgrow the shell, and you have to let go of the shell, and then there's the vulnerability. And that's what creates the snap, snap, snap. When there isn't anything there to protect you. There isn't anything there to give to you. So if you're not getting that from the other, then the Mercury in Sagittarius says, I need to shift my mindset. I need to shift how I'm perceiving this situation. Because Mercury's all about that processing that we have. And it's about coming to a higher plane. And I don't mean that as better than. It's a new view. It's like you are, the eagle, and you're flying in a different direction, and you're getting up a little higher in the sky in order to see a broader perspective. And that's even a broader perspective on your own activity. How can you see the ways that anger tends to show up in times when you're giving and then you're not receiving? Then there may need to be the hippie girl calls forward a perspective that maybe some of that life force needs to be given to you, or you need to shift your expectation on the other because they don't know how to give back as much as you're giving them, or that they don't really require all that life force that you're sort of throwing at them in a very well-meaning way. I don't want you to give up that part of you at all. And your higher self is, piping in here that, of course, that is foundational to who you are. But you got to watch when the snap, snap, snap comes in. Because when anger shows up, that's when there's an imbalance in the energy. So the hippie girl energy wants you to have a broader perspective, wants you to know energy exchange is real. That's the way it keeps coming up. It's real deal. And if there is too much output from you and not enough coming back, you gotta have a shift in your perspective in order for the snapdragon, that snapping, to not be the first response. Okay? I love it. Okay, the second card up is from the Angel Tarot. So this card is going to be your old-fashioned lady component of the message. And this is the Four of Water. I'll show you the artwork here. You can see this mermaid figure sort of looking away from the cup that is standing and looking at the chalices that are tipped over. Okay? This is missing an opportunity, discontentment, or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. Okay, and so this is again Scorpio energy, coming up deep here. Scorpio is a water sign, and so this is pointing to that 4 of water. Remember, our numerology for this week is 4 also. This speaks to solid foundations and being a dedicated worker. Understanding that you have what it takes to get through whatever is in front of you. But to watch your perspective. This card always points to me that we're focused in a direction that is not serving us. We're looking at everything that is wrong instead of this amazing thing that's going right over here. And kind of, I'm getting a sense of feeling, again, this is the old-fashioned part of you that is foundational to who you are. Wanting to fix everything. Like, I want all the cups to be standing, you say, from your foundations to this mermaid. You are the mermaid. I gotta get these to stand up, and I won't be satisfied until these are all standing, because I can't. I almost feel this, stuttering energy of being so fixated on fixing what is not correct instead of going towards what is vibrant, what is pulsing, what is alive with energy for you. As an example, I'm definitely going to talk here just briefly about my business. I mean, I've had Call of the Wild for 4 years, and I have an energy exchange with horses that I can't explain. But after a period of time, it just became clear to me that I really think the vast majority of the horse owners and riders are just not in a place to really hear the messages that I was picking up on. It's not personal. It's not meant as an attack around anybody. But I spent a long time sort of swirling in that energy again of looking at what wasn't working. And I was literally bucking the current of energy because I was so focused in that direction, versus astrology came in my life and card readings, and those things have really always had a presence in my business, but it wasn't my core focus. And so those things came in naturally, and they were working naturally, and people wanted them, and it's very easy energy. And so those cups, if you will, have always been standing up for me. That has always been there. What is the energy that stands up for you every time, even through the winds of change? And this can also be people that you have an emotional connection to. And remember, this old-fashioned part of yourself, this level of integrity and what it is that you stand for, it wants to be in place, and the energy that is connected to it is Venus going in retrograde into Libra. This is a part of you that offers you balance in life. But are you focused too much on what isn't working versus what is working? Are you focused on the fight and the upsets in your life, and if only this would work out? And then meanwhile, like, you've got an amazing relationship over here, and you're not at all paying attention to that because you're thinking about how somebody did you wrong over here. Or if it's like an old lover who, it's a jilted relationship. There's a real sense of woundedness I got for the other card, and I'm getting for yours too. Because it's like, oh, if only he hadn't have done that to me, then I wouldn't feel like this, and I wouldn't feel like I can't trust anybody around me. There's just a real sense of like looking at past old stories of what was and what should have been, and like getting out the album, the old photo album, and looking at all the fun times, and either all those people have disappeared from your life for one reason or another, or, a lot of people have died, or you don't even see those people anymore. It's old stories. But then what about all the people who are sitting right in your life right now? Or the jobs, or the projects, or whatever it is, because the cups points to emotional support, emotional aspects, things that too you're passionate about and that you feel intuitively drawn to. It is your intuitive self. And again, that's what the Sabian symbol is pointing to, is that intuitive self too, the feminine, that receptive part of you. And the cups are already turned over. Whatever you're looking at, that you're feeling pain from or woundedness, those cups have been turned over for a while. There's no benefit to looking at them anymore. Not when there is this enormous chalice standing up right near you. It's actually closer to you than the other ones that are from long ago, far away. That was then, this is now. So there's a real sense of like, in order to shore up your foundations now, what is the energy that's calling forward from the hippie girl energy, part of the Sabian? And that ties to Mercury and Sagittarius. So what is that for you? This is the second card, which comes from the Soul Coaching deck. And it is beauty comes forward. The woman looking at the rose. This says, I am deeply and profoundly beautiful. Is there a level of perfectionism that is what you are looking at? Like, I'm not good enough. I should be able to lose this weight, or I should be able to be active, or I should be able to eat nutritious things and stay on that path. And why can't I stay on that path? And why, because again, solid foundations. Why can't I be diligent about my own beauty and what I care about in my relationships? Why can't I keep that? Keep in mind the perspective. So the hippie girl offers you the perspective of Mercury and Sagittarius, which is much more freedom of mind and looking from a higher plane. Again, being the eagle up in the sky, looking down at the beauty of all that is. It's like when you get in an airplane and you go over like these patchwork fields, and it's just magnificent to see the change of the landscape. And like if you go out in the Rockies area of the US, it's just breathtaking to see the terrain. You can just see so much more richness when you get up a little higher. That's what Mercury in Sagittarius is calling you towards. A freedom of mind, of not looking at what hasn't worked. And with this being beauty, I feel like this is self-directed. It's like towards yourself. Like I'm not taking care of myself, or here I go again with another cycle of this all over again. And it simply is wanting you to see the beauty of every time that rub comes around and things aren't working out. It's more and more cause to kick you, just like I was talking about with bucking the current with my business. Something switched off in me that I said, I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm supposed to be over here where the energy is flowing just fine. Where is the energy flowing in your life beautifully? Versus where is there stumbling block after stumbling block and you're not getting anywhere, and it's like you just keep falling down on your knees, like, come on. Again, like, I think Mercury is going to help you to get more clear on that. Get up a little higher, pay attention to what is working. What energy is, kind of chugging along nicely. That's the pointer. And moving out of the fixation on perfection of things that don't seem to be working. Because once you get Energy is real. Once you get your awareness pointed in the direction of what is already working, and you start working with that, you start dancing with that energy of moving in the direction of things that are already working well, and you're with those people more often, or you're paying attention to those parts of your life or in your business. You're doing more of those services. You're putting more of your heart into those areas that mean something to you, that really have a passionate basis within you. You start to not look down at the cups that are always falling over. That's the energy of that is done. It's a time of change. It's time for you to experience beauty in new ways. Go forward in different pathways. This is, and I'm having a hard time maybe articulating it because this is a general message, but I'm feeling so many different topic areas on this particular card. For some of you, I'm feeling like this is very personally directed at being self-deprecating towards yourself and perfectionist in your attitudes. For some people, I feel like this is relationship driven, and some it feels like career, interpersonal dynamics. I mean, there's like every possibility coming up here. But I want you to focus on the beautiful energy. That is the foundation of the old-fashioned part of you, that old-fashioned lady part of the symbol. It is about what is beautiful in your life. It is about what brings greater balance. Where is the harmony in your life? Because I can tell that there's some wiring within you, and it's okay. There's wiring there that tends to want to look at what isn't working well, and therefore, how can I fix it? And the upgrade part of the message is that I feel like there's no energy available to fix whatever it is you're trying to fix. It's because that is done now. That is over now. And you putting effort there, there's nothing coming back at you to work with. So the cups are just going to remain fallen. There's nothing there anymore. There's no energy dynamic. So you want to be pointed in the direction of where there is an energy dynamic. What is beautiful to you now? I feel like that perspective is changing. Okay? So, very self-introspective feeling to it. The final card is from the Soul Coaching deck, and your hippie girl energy will also be a soul coaching. This was interesting to see the same deck picked for that. So you have focus as your card for the old-fashioned lady energy part of the symbol, which also speaks to the Venus retrograde moving into Libra. This says, all of my thoughts are directed toward my highest good. This is foundational to who you are. You are a positive person. You are somebody actually that I feel does see things, because I'm really drawn to the perspective of this star piece. You do see things from kind of a higher point of view. And this is a really important foundational aspect of who you are. And your ability then to focus energy in a positive direction. And there's still, even with that, there's some retuning that Venus is bringing forward. Venus retrograde. Wanting more beauty and harmony, just a more levelness, because I actually feel an incredible amount of intensity with this card. And that ties in with the sun being in Scorpio. Scorpio is not only the deepest, but the most intense of all signs. And thus the reason I do feel Scorpio kind of gets a bad rap sometimes. Because it has a level of intensity. You are a positively focused person, and you're wanting, you have a tendency to be able to get up into that 30,000 foot view and to be able to shine your light, to beam it down. But there can also, with the word focus, there can be an incredible, like, it's where light becomes the light beam that comes through the prism that then burns the paper that is sitting underneath the light beam. It's that intensity of light that actually can burn. Because there's something about an upgrade here with the whole message for everybody this week. So Venus is just maybe causing you to look a little bit deeper at bringing more, because a key word for you feels like balance, and it's balance in your intensity. Around how much do you focus on a particular area, and does it then burn? Because I keep getting this like sense of singeing, and then can be hurtful in relationships and things, of perhaps always having the answer, or bringing such a positivity of light. That, and I experience this myself sometimes, blowing sunshine up people's behinds when that is the last thing on the planet that they want in that moment. So let's take a look at the hippie girl piece of the message. And you have acceptance. This is a beautiful woman just embracing her own heart. I'm feeling here like the old-fashioned value, that cornerstone or foundational piece. It is this this sense of being such a source of light for so many. But the best thing that you can do, that the hippie girl offers, is this being the source of your own, a source of light for yourself first and foremost. And when you take care of yourself, you watch the world then around you taking care of themselves. It's the same thing around the airplane, and you put the oxygen mask on yourself and then on others so that you can be of assistance. This acceptance card says, I unconditionally accept, cherish, and love myself just as I am. And this can be, there's an old-fashioned integrity piece here that I feel with the focus card that is about being of service to so many other people in many capacities, but especially in times when they are wounded. Because that's also a hallmark of Scorpionic energy. And this is foundational to who you are. There is no ask in this reading for you to give that up. It's a key part of who you are and what you came here to do from a broader perspective. However, there is just an acceptance. Again, the phrase, it takes all kinds, is coming up. There's just the acceptance too is in knowing that some people choose a path of woundedness, some people choose a path of pain. And that is their path. It takes all kinds. We need all hues within the rainbow. And not everybody wants to be the yellow or wants to be the deep purple. We all select our paths that feel best to us. And there actually are a fair number of people on the planet that actually feel something very deep and profound out of a sense of pain and woundedness, and constantly trying to get better and get themselves out of this spiral, this spin. And I feel like you feel a sense of responsibility towards those people, of wanting to pull them up. But the very best thing that you can do in those circumstances is to stand to the side. The hippie girl asks you here, can you still do that level of service that you love and bring that focus of light that you serve as, by just simply standing to the side and being in your energy and your field of influence, which is only your own. That's the only one you have influence over. And holding your own heart. And even though it almost feels slightly selfish to say, I believe in a different version of selfishness. You are self-fishing for yourself. You're not relying on other people to lift you. And sometimes that focus and intensity of assisting another and bringing light for another can be that you are trying to do the fishing, they're fishing for them. The best thing you can do, she holds her own heart, the hippie girl does. And she twirls and spins in the field of wildflowers and goes down in the brook and takes her bath and feels nature and experience pleasure in every cell of her body for herself. That is self-fishing. That is attending to oneself and making your vibration, your energy, the very best and high vibrational. Again, this is about, the energy is the 4 this week. Foundations, solid foundations, and being a dedicated worker. The very best thing a dedicated worker can do is to mine their own craft, is to work on the focus of themselves, is to turn this focus of light towards a focus of your own light, your own heart, your own sense of giving to yourself unconditionally, and that you must come first. Because if you're doing all the fishing, i.e. nurturing and such, and a sense of taking care of oneself, if you're doing that fishing for everybody else, nobody's putting fish on your table. You're needing to get that fish, that sense of nurturing for yourself from what you feed to others. And that is not a sustainable system. It's not a reliable system. Because remember, some people pick pain. Some people pick woundedness. That isn't your call to say, oh, but I want to come fix that. Here's my prism. I'm going to focus my light and I'm going to bring it all that I can to you. This is not a call, again, to get rid of that part of yourself. It is a shifting of focus. It is a shifting into your own fine craftsmanship, your own ability to take that fishing rod and to fish like the dickens for yourself, and that feeling of gratitude for your own stability, your own mastery around this, around the bringing of light to your own life, actually works magic in terms of energy with other people, more than you could ever imagine. They come near you and they're like, what are you doing? Because I want some of that. I want some of that. How do you do that? And then you just share what you've been doing, and then you trust. It's up to them if they want to do that. It's up to them. But don't be disappointed that not everybody has the level of light that you do, and not everybody brings the intensity of focus, of manifestations of good things and positive thoughts into their life. It takes all kinds. So be kind and allow them to have their path, and whether they choose to fish or not, that is up to them. Okay, everybody, there we go for our messages this week. It feels really profound, but it would be with big Mercury into Sag and Venus going into Libra. Beautiful transitions, and please do not lose that old-fashioned of your part of yourself, but just this fine-tuning and allowing in a little bit of the hippie girl for more freedom, more ease, more peace. See you next week.